Alright, I'm going to explain everything I know about the Freet dash. The Freet dash is a technique that's used to run through enemies without taking damage and without slowing down. While running, you attack and then cancel that attack with a diagonal. It looks like this. So it has similar rules to the iframe dash that Freedan and Shadow use, and it has similar rules to the guard dash. So the rules that I'm talking about are whenever you do a guard dash, or an iframe dash, or a Freet dash, your dash will be turned from a standard one to a triple dash. The difference between those being the distance it takes for will to stop once you actually let go of the input. With a normal dash, it's around 1 tile. With a triple dash, it's around half a tile. A little bit shorter than half a tile. So whenever you use a Freet dash, etc., you need to adjust for your corners whenever you're turning, as you'll come up short compared to normal. The other rule is that this one's very important. Whenever you release, depending on the method you use, whenever you release your dash, or when you attack, all will be explained later on, but mostly whenever you release your dash, you have 8 frames to go back to the dash again. If you look at my inputs, you go neutral and then you have 8 frames to go back to forward. If you don't go back quick enough, you'll walk like that. So now that the rules are out of the way, let's explain the failures. It's very important to understand when something goes wrong, why it went wrong. So there are 3 main failure states for the Freet dash. The first one is one of the most common of the 3. It's this. That was actually a Freet dash. This is the most common failure. This happens when you push forward first. So the reason why Will cannot do an iframe dash is because his jump attack stops him. And it needs to be a diagonal. So when you're releasing your attack, when you're releasing your dash, and then you attack, when you're going for the diagonal, the forward is coming out first. You have to make sure that doesn't happen. That's failure state number 1, which again, looks like that. Failure state number 2, which is also, I find, I think this is the least common one. This will be the one when you're really close to getting the Freet dash, but you're not quite there yet. This one looks like this. That failure state is when you're too slow, when you're not going within the 8 frames, like I was mentioning before. So if that happens, do the same inputs you're doing, but do it faster. Make sure you're getting that diagonal within 8 frames. Third failure state. This one's like the middle tier. You'll most likely encounter this in the middle of your learning. This one looks like this. This failure state happens when you are still holding your attack button, which is mostly B. It's going to be B if you type 2. When you're still holding your attack button when you press the diagonal. When that happens, you'll cancel your current attack into another attack. So what you need to do there is, when you're going for your attack, you need to really, really tap that B. If you watch my inputs, see how quickly I release that B. It's immediately, as fast as I can. You don't want to dawdle on that. So those are the 3 failure states. There are also, so far that I have found, 3 different methods to pull off a successful Freet dash. The most common one is when you let go of the dash, you're in neutral meaning absolutely no buttons are being pushed right now. Going from neutral into a clean diagonal, and clean being both the inputs being pushed at the same time, like this. This is my preferred method of doing a Freet dash. It is also, in my opinion, probably the hardest one. But you don't have to do it that way. Method number 2 is a roll. So when I say roll, I mean you're holding left, and then while still holding left, you drag your thumb down or up, depending. I'm using down left in all the example of this video, just to keep it consistent. So you'd hold left, and while still holding left, bring your thumb down to touch down. So you're getting the diagonal that way. That method, input-wise, if you look at my inputs, looks like this. I never release the dash. So this is the method where you actually have around 8 frames from your attack, since you're not letting go of the dash. This, I think, all around is the easiest method to Freet dash. I think this is the most accessible way to do it. I struggle doing it up, though. It's still very doable. Method number 3, I think this is the hardest way, but depending on the person, they may find this the most comfortable. This is also the most difficult for me to explain. So this is a quarter circle. It's also very difficult for me to do on this controller without getting an up input. So a quarter circle would be, if we're doing a Freet dash down left, would be while walking left or running left, you let go, and then you'd go down, down left, left. You can actually finish it at down left, so you could just neutral, down, down left for a diagonal run. That would look like this input-wise. You have to pay very close attention. My down will come out by itself before the diagonal. This is hard for me. I held A then, and apparently I got a jump attack, or B even. This is the hardest for me to do. There you go. If you saw my inputs, you'll have noticed the down came out by itself. There we go, got it again. So if you're confident at doing quarter circles, you can do it like that. And again, you can end it on the diagonal like this. So those are the 3 methods and the 3 failure states. If you study different methods and you find out why, if you can do Freet dashes, or if you can, while learning Freet dashes, make that mistake, know why it's happening, rectify it, make that mistake, rectify it, and make that mistake and rectify it, you'll learn this in no time. The tricky part is mastering it, which comes with practice. It takes a long time to be able to just do it like how I do it, basically. So the only thing left is just little extra things now. So it follows the same rule as the iframe dash and the quad and the guard dash with the I call it the 4 input rule for dashing, where if you push, let's say we're triple dashing, if I push forward, I'm going to walk like that. So 4 forward inputs. That one didn't happen. I'm about to explain that in a second. So normally 4 forward inputs, I did it again, results in a walk. But there is a tiny, tiny window where if you push that 4th input like that, you still continue your run. I don't know why it happens. It's not important, but it's just there. But, so normally you can only do two dashes in a 2 Freet dashes, 2 iframe dashes, 2 guard dashes in a sprint. The second one is frame perfect. So doing the first one is fine, but this second one now, that's frame perfect. Once you push the guard or the attack if it's a Freet dash, so here's a Freet dash, there's one, and then this is very difficult to do, like that. You have to push either the forward or the diagonal, the frame after you guard or attack. It's very hard. Like that. You might get 2 frames, I'm not sure, but it doesn't feel like it. It has to be super precise. So if you're able to do that, then you'll have even more of an advantage, because it means you can go through some lines where there's two enemies and you can just Freet dash them both without having to stop and get your sprint back for the easy Freet dash. Normally you would Freet dash, stop, Freet dash, go. But you can do that. It's very difficult though. And the other thing, this is very non-important really, but you can actually do an infinite amount in one sprint. It's not useful though, but you can use item buffer to do an infinite amount in one sprint, bypassing the 4 input rule. I don't know why this works. It's not very useful, as you don't really lose a lot of time doing it, but it's not really useful. Yeah, that is the Freet dash video. There's pretty much nothing else that I can think of for this. It's all down to practice. Learn what's going wrong and then try and fix it. Good luck.